Hey guys, this is Jam of jamonline.ph, and today we're gonna check out the latest mid-range smartphone from Samsung, the Samsung Galaxy A7 2018. So this is their first triple lens camera smartphone, and now, yes, this is a mid-range smartphone and not a high-end smartphone. So first things first, let's talk about the specifications. Well, first, the Samsung Galaxy A7 2018 features a 6-inch Full HD Super AMOLED display. That's a Full HD Plus resolution. There's a triple lens camera, and where one of it is a 24 megapixel autofocus camera with 1.7 aperture. The other one is an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with f2.4 aperture and a wide 120 degrees wide angle lens. And last one, there's a 5 megapixel depth sensor for better bokeh and portraits. The front camera is actually the 24 megapixel f2.0 selfie camera. So we got here a 2.2 gigahertz octa-core processor, which is, by the way, an Exynos processor. We got 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage with micro SD card slot up to 512 gig. There's a 3,300 milliamperes of battery. It's running on Android 8.0, and of course, it does come with a triple card slot for micro SD and dual SIM cards and a lot more. So this is a really interesting smartphone because with the Galaxy A7, they're going head-to-head with most mid-range smartphones. So let's talk about the design of the smartphone. So the Samsung Galaxy A7 doesn't pack a notch on the front, so it's a Super AMOLED display. It's 6-inch, but there's no notch. I believe this is still good. The colors are really good. We got a Super AMOLED display. I love it. And then there's the bezel at the top and the bottom. However, it isn't that, thin bezel. We do not have that thin bezel similar to most mid-range smartphones these days or flagship smartphone. But we do have a rounded corners on the display. But again, the Super AMOLED display of the smartphone is really vivid. It's really bright. And I actually love it. However, I do not think that the smartphone does have the best display, but for a mid-range smartphone. But I'm actually pretty satisfied with it. Anyway, let's talk about the fingerprint scanner of the smartphone. The Galaxy A7 2018 doesn't have a fingerprint scanner at the back. That's why the smartphone looks neat and clean. It's because the fingerprint scanner is actually placed on the power button of the Galaxy A7 2018. So yes, you have to scan your thumb or probably your index finger if you're a lefty. But it's actually a big change for Samsung that they place a fingerprint scanner on the power button. So instead of having a protruding power button on the side, we do have a flat power button on the side of it, which is a little bit different for me, especially for a Samsung smartphone. So when it comes to build quality, the Samsung Galaxy A7 does pack a front and back glass according to Samsung, but it does feel like similar to the Oppo F9. And on the side, we got the plastic sides, which is, by the way, glossy. But however, I do not have any annoyance with it. It's actually pretty good. I actually love the feel of the smartphone. It feels good to the hand. It isn't the best mid-range smartphone when it comes to build quality, but knowing Samsung, they do know how to build a quality smartphone. And of course, the Galaxy A7 2018, again, is actually pretty comfortable to the hand. So below the smartphone, we got here a 3.5mm headphone jack, a micro USB port, and also a speaker grill. Again, it's a micro USB port, not USB Type-C, but that's fine. I mean, there's no fast charging, there's no anything, but I'm actually fine with the micro USB 2.0. I mean, most mid-range smartphones are actually using micro USB instead of USB Type-C. So the Samsung Galaxy A7 is running on Android 8.0. So yes, it does pack the similar UI of other Samsung Galaxy smartphones. Yes, it is user-friendly, and yes, it does pack the same software that we can find on other Samsung Galaxy smartphones. So what are the special things about the smartphone? Well, first of all, we got here the on-screen button. It's very Samsung, and it does come with some Microsoft applications like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, And of course, we got here the Samsung applications like the Samsung SmartThings and the Galaxy applications. It will also come with Samsung members application in which you can find some freebies. I'm not sure what will be the freebies that will be arriving in the Philippines, but previously on other Samsung smartphones that we have reviewed before, we got a 100 pesos off on Grab every Monday, which is really cool. And there's some another discounted stuff on Samsung members. Again, this is really cool. So the Samsung Galaxy A7 features an Exynos processor with 4 gigs of RAM. And what I like about it is that the performance, the apps, the navigation on the smartphone is pretty snappy. All of it were pretty good. And actually, I've tried it on Tutu. We got a score of 120,000 plus. And surprisingly, it's almost on par with the score of the Snapdragon 636. However, I've noticed that when it comes to gaming, this one is actually pretty fast compared to the 636 processor. And also in some games, it's actually even better than the Helio P60. I'm actually surprised with that one, but I have to try that one yet on Game Bench to prove that to you guys. But so far, what our first impressions with the Exynos processor of the A7, it's actually fast, it's actually good, and yes, it does warm a little bit, but doesn't get too hot to the point that the smartphone will overheat. Actually, in PUBG Mobile, I was able to run balanced settings with a high frame rate and anti-aliasing on, and surprisingly, I was able to run the game smoothly. Well, yes, there are some frame drops, but most of the time, it was pretty good. I'm actually surprised with that one. So let's go to the camera department of the Samsung Galaxy A7 2018. So the smartphone does come with a triple lens camera, in which one of it is a 24 megapixel autofocus camera with f1.7 aperture. The interesting sensor here is that we got a 120 degrees ultra wide angle camera. It's an 8 megapixel f2.4 camera. And lastly, we got a depth sensor, which is a 5 megapixel camera with f2.4 aperture. So this one, again, is really interesting because this is the first smartphone to pack a triple lens camera. And surprisingly, they placed it on a mid-range smartphone and not on a Galaxy S smartphone or the Galaxy Note smartphone. So we took some shots earlier today, so I'm going to show you some of the shots that we took using the Galaxy A7, and surprisingly, both the wide-angle lens camera and the standard camera were pretty good. You can actually use both for videos, and speaking of videos, by the way, you can run 1080p 30 frames per second videos on this one. And whether you're taking photos on the standard camera and also the ultra-wide-angle camera, they're actually pretty good. So it's actually pretty easy to access on the camera. So all you need to do is go to the camera, and there's a special button for changing from standard to the ultra-wide-angle lens of the camera. But of course, not just that, we also got here some cool features added on the Galaxy A7 2018, including the live focus modes. Thanks to the depth sensor, we got a cool live focus mode, and I actually noticed that we got a better live focus on this one since we got a depth sensor. So of course, the Galaxy A7 does come with other features, including panorama, pro mode, beauty mode, auto mode, live focus, scene optimizer, which is, by the way, it's like an AI camera, so the smartphone will detect what object or whatever that you're taking a photo, it will give you the best photo, the best settings, the best optimization for that shot. And of course, there's also the slow motion mode. However, it's not 960 frames per second, but it's nice to see that there's a slow motion mode on the A7. And then of course, we got AR emoji and hyperlapse. So the AR emoji is a little bit different compared to the Galaxy Note 9 and the Galaxy S series, because this one is actually just a sticker. Yes, you could create your own emoji. Yes, you could add some stickers like the Galaxy S8, but the AR emoji doesn't have the AR emoji similar to the Galaxy Note 9 and the Galaxy S9. So again, going back to the camera quality, well, again, both cameras are really good. I love the ultra wide angle lens camera of the smartphone. It's actually really good, and actually it's pretty great for a mid-range smartphone. However, there's no focusing that one, so it's like a GoPro. But overall, it wasn't that bad compared to the standard lens, but it's actually good for taking landscape photos or just taking some portraits with a group, with your selfies or whatever that you want to take with that ultra wide angle lens camera. But again, that one is pretty good. The standard lens camera, it can really compete with other smartphones. I mean, the colors are really great. I love the algorithm on every Samsung smartphones, including this one. The colors were good. It's not great. You could actually see the highlights, something missing on some shots. But however, overall, I was pretty amazed with the camera of the smartphone. Actually, I'm going to show you some of the shots that I took using the Galaxy A7 2018. So I guess that's it for our hands-on of the Samsung Galaxy A7 with a triple lens camera. And yes, it will be available soon in the Philippines at October 27 for an amazing price of 17,990. So I know it's really competing against most mid-range smartphones available today, and I actually like to see this one go head-to-head with most mid-range smartphone available in the market today. And yes, well, my first impressions, well, I'm pretty amazed with this is Samsung smartphone. Normally, Samsung smartphones doesn't really go head-to-head. I mean, they're priced more expensive. They are priced more expensive compared to mid-range smartphones. But this time, they're going head-to-head with most mid-range smartphones available in the Philippines. And it does have a really good camera. The display is actually pretty good, though there's no notch on this one. But again, it's really interesting to see a triple lens camera on a mid-range smartphone. So the Galaxy A7 2018, or with the Galaxy A7 with the triple lens camera, will be available in the Philippines this October 27 with blue, black, and gold colors, and will be available for 17,990. So I guess that's it for a quick review of the Galaxy A7 2018. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, well, now's the time to subscribe. So once again, I am Jam, jamonline.ph, and thanks for watching a quick review of the Samsung Galaxy A7 2018.